Almost everyone I know has a time management or a balance problem, usually both. I hear that in professional circles every day. We all have a quest for balance, and sometimes you hear talk like it's a simple work versus home life. Oh, I wish I had more time to spend with the family, or something is interfering with this or that. It would be nice if life were that simple, that we could just turn things off at 5 o'clock. But our 21st century lives are more complex than that, particularly if you're in a professional or managerial kind of position. Yet our thinking seems to be locked into old patterns. We need a new method to be able to get a picture of our lives and then figure out a way to untangle it. First of all, we need to recognize that we all have multiple roles. We are professional, we're a spouse, we're perhaps a parent, all of us are a child, we may be head of a club, we may be in the PTA, we may be a student. And sometimes those different roles can conflict and create stress in our lives. Let's see if we can figure out a way to get a picture of what's really going on. To start this process, find a large sheet of paper. Ideally, it should be something about the size of a flip chart page, or even a large graphic tablet will work. In the center of a blank sheet, write your life's purpose, then circle it. Okay. Not everybody knows their life's purpose and can write it down in one simple statement. But if that's okay. If you don't know what to say, just write me, and then we will figure out how you're really living your life, and that'll help you determine how the purpose you're living. It may not be the purpose you want, however. After you've written the purpose in the center, then around that purpose, write the different roles you have. And here we see someone who has written engineer, parent, spouse, healthy person, learner, homemaker, child, relaxer, and friend. In your case, take the time to write out all the roles you can think of. If you can't think of them all, that's okay. You'll have plenty of time to catch up on that later. After you've done that, then begin to write the activities or the task around each of the roles that you have. In this case, this person chose to work with the engineer role first, and you see networking, designing, sales, and so forth, all activities associated with that particular role. And in your case, start to do that and continue to fill out your map. When you finish, you probably have something that looks like this. Here you see a lot of activities revolving around quite a few different roles. When you look at this, then the key question, of course, is this what your life really looks like? Is this the life as you know it? You might say, oh my gosh, look at this. No wonder I'm so busy. Well, yeah, that's usually the case. But anyhow, take the time to study it, look it over, fill in anything that you may have forgotten, correct it, and let it be as accurate of a map as you can possibly do at this stage. The next step in analyzing the map and starting to perhaps simplify your life would be to ask the question, are there roles that you can drop the whole role with its various activities? We don't have it marked on this chart, but perhaps you are the president of a club. Then is that club something that you could just drop along with all the activities that go along with that? In other words, you might just ask, what does that role have to do with my central purpose? Is it serving my central purpose? And then you can begin to trim the tree. In this case, you can look at each individual activity or task, again asking the question, what does that task have to do with my central purpose? If their answer is nothing, then put a red X on it. That will indicate these are tasks that you can begin to consider dropping. Now, there are other reasons other than supporting your central purpose that you might be doing something. It might be to support your spouse, or to help a friend, or something of that sort. But in general, there are things everybody is doing that have nothing to do with your central purpose. In this case, somebody has marked off games up around the internet having to do with the engineer role, and X on commuting. Well, maybe they're finding another way to get to work. They put an X under homemaker of cleaning, perhaps to subcontract it, and so forth. But anyway, as you start to X out various activities, you can start to get the idea that this is a way to start simplifying your life. Another way to look at the map is to look at it from an energy standpoint. What roles and what tasks or activities serve to increase your energy and which serve to decrease it? Tasks that decrease energy are sources of stress, and sources of energy, those things that give you rest and relaxation perhaps, or excitement, these are the things you want to increase. So if you take a look at this map and the up and down arrows, and you see a lot of extra arrows, that's to give you a good supply so you can throw them around on your chart. And this person said that being a parent gives him or her energy. Transporting them, however, is a negative, and this would indicate maybe there's some ways to get around that. Talks with a spouse give energy. Homemaking, on the other hand, is a drag. That would say, okay, really don't like doing this. Maybe I can search for an alternative. Being a child of adult parents or aging parents could be energy sapping because of all the stress involved. This arrow then raises the question of what could be done about that. There may be other solutions. And you see that vacations, for instance, is an energy booster. If you do this enough on your map, you will start to get a good idea of which tasks and activities and which roles are really energy producers and which are the sappers of energy. Sometimes you can trim the tree of energy sapping activities or people. For instance, we have an arrow by Charlie up there, and this indicates that perhaps that relationship with Charlie is not a productive relationship. Maybe we should trim that tree. But anyway, you get the idea. In looking at the X's and the arrows up and down of your map, you can start to get a picture of the way you could simplify your life. So given that, now that you have all the complications of what you're currently doing, then get another sheet of paper and then draw a map of what you would like to see your purpose map, your role map look like now or over the 5-year period. What would you add? What would you subtract? Where would you like to go? And once you can draw this ideal map and compare it with your current map, you can start to see the way that you might be able to set some goals to bridge the gap. We'll start to discuss that in more detail in our next video. Thank you very much.